discuss the greatest comedians of all time, it's safe to say that the same names will come up time and time again. Monty Python, Tommy Cooper, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant, Carl Pilkington, just to name a few. Yeah? But there's one man that never gets a look in. Why is that? Yeah? A man who played a pivotal role in many millennials' childhoods, and yet he's now 30-somethings, probably couldn't even name him. A man who worked with the likes of David Firth and... I don't know, probably others, right? Gotta be. A man by the name of Christian Webb. From Doncaster, Christian Webb portrayed the character Devvo, a caricature of chavs that was so chavvy they'd probably have to reject him from the Jeremy Carr show for being a bit too on the nose. A nice young man, Devvo released an album which would soon catapult Mr. Webb into comedy legend status. Just listen to Donny Soldier.
When I was at school, I was a fella. Round the bitches fingering Daniela. Round the bitches fingering Selena. Round the bitches fingering Delina. Got 4 fingers up, you should have seen it. And my trousers couldn't be any keener. But I thought you was with Tina. We had a kid called Sedina.
Christian would continue portraying Devvo for some time, before eventually retiring the character. Sure, other comedians might try and, milk the notoriety of the character for as long as possible. Milking the cash cow dry and what have you. Yeah? Not Christian. Yeah? He reached the peak of the character and quit whilst he was ahead, and you've got to respect that, really, haven't you? Yeah? What I can't respect is a teaching profession. After Devvo, Christian would join David Firth's Swallow FM, an improvisational comedy radio show where they would both portray several iconic characters, such as Sandy Scorthorpe, Malcolm, Terry, and perhaps the funniest character of all time, Graham Burkamp. It was this character that would lead Christian to make his funniest yet least recognised work yet. Whereas Devvo led to fame, it wasn't until the Graham's Hot Porridge live streams that Christian really came into his own, both comedically and artistically.
I definitely will sing for you tonight's stream, by the way, but the only request we've had so far is Gangnam Style, which Flightless Bird Boy I'm not against, but I don't think it shows off my vocal range. So, it's all well and good shouting to the G-man. Sing for us, G-man, sing for us. Yeah, sing what? Sing what?
Graham's Hot Porridge was a short-lived comedy live stream where Christian and David would portray Graham and Terry, sometimes for as long as 2 hours, whilst playing awful games from the 1990s, presumably that they grew up with. Airing on Wednesday evenings at 8 PM UK time, this was one of the few things that helped tens, if not hundreds of us, through one of the lockdowns. Here's an example of some of their comedic genius.
I'd like to pick up on something there. It says, sounds like Graham is more Tory than you, David. I don't know who David is, who he's talking to, because my name's Terry. But that's right, Graham is more of a Tory than me. I'm Liberal Democrat over here.
I'm a little bit, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit Tory. You cut my veins and I'm blue through and through. But it doesn't mean I don't play fast and loose with my vote. So sometimes I don't vote.
Wait,
I'm going to vote for whoever promises the fastest broadband. That's
I think that's Virgin, wouldn't it?
And if Virgin are going for it, then I'll go for them as well. The Virgin Mary, she did all right. So,
yep, she got 2 terms, didn't she? She got voted in twice.
She got 2 terms and she got a headship after that. So, well done to her.
With witticisms like that, it's hard to believe that Mr. Webb doesn't have a successful comedy career under his belt. Well, the truth is he could have been massive, but he didn't want it, so the joke's on you. Yeah? Besides, he had another passion. In 2018, a school teacher named Christian Webb, where I've heard that name before, was sacked. His crime? Portraying down in Devonshire, Devvo, nearly 15 years earlier. Apparently impossible for an actor to play a character completely different to themselves, the school would have been shocked to learn that Marlon Brando never ran a mafia crime family. I suppose if Al Pacino was working at the school, he'd have been sacked when they discovered that he was not, in fact, blind. In that case, you better sack all drama teachers, yeah? No doubt they've portrayed murderers, thieves, and other wrongins in their time. So, honestly, portraying these characters in front of kids, that's crossing a fucking line, don't you think?
Look at Graham, look, there's a river.
Look at that. Wow. And, this is the thing about when you're making an equestrian game. It's all about realism, and I think they've nailed it.
I'm looking at that crowd. It's not very big, is it, Graham? I don't think many people have turned out.
I mean, even in the made-up world of a computer game, you can't take the piss. You've got to have a realistic crowd.
What's that, a saw? Why is there a saw there, a circular saw?
They could have absolutely packed that crowd out. Family went in one day and said, John, I've built the crowd. And he went, hang on. Hang on a minute. Not that many people are turning up. Not even in a made-up game. What?
Don't ask the comments aren't allowed to help you. Sabotage the comments.
Droopy
Sabotage.
blue heart earrings. Droopy blue heart earrings. Thank you for that. But droopy blue heart earrings. What kind of earrings do you got? I got droopy blue heart earrings. Then I'm not afraid to be hot. Can you do business? Can you do dancing? Can you do cooking? I can do the lot. And that's off the cuff. So that was a good song, wasn't it?
We can lay that down later, Graham. Get some hits.
I've instantly forgotten it.
But lo and behold, Christian's work didn't stop there. Over the years, he has not only voice acted in many of David Firth's projects, but he's also written many of them as well. As with a lot of behind-the-camera talent, some of Christian's impact on the world has gone unnoticed. It was Christian Webb that came up with the title Salad Fingers, after commenting that David Firth had salad fingers when playing the guitar. The logical assumption to me is that Edward French-style dressing hands must have been another working title that was already taken. After finding barely any information out about Christian during my research, I was about to give up the search, until I discovered something so great, Great Man with Great Face would be envious about how great it was. Sharon are a band featuring Mr. Webb and Mr. Firth that released at least 3 albums that were so good they may well put Private Paradise by Jack Villeneuve to shame. Perhaps it was during a practice session for this band that the infamous Salad Fingers comment was made. Although these songs barely got any attention, with some struggling to get more than 1,000 views on YouTube, I feel that fucking pain, brother. As we know, view count is no guarantee of a good video. Just look at the Dr. End, yeah? Great comedy videos, but nobody fucking watches them. Yeah, a lot like Graham's Hot Porridge. If any type of video deserved 0 views, probably reaction videos. So, sound the grape digging Sharon fruits
against my salad
is
almost orgasmic.
Now I know that a lot of you will be asking the same question. What is Christian doing now? This is a question that can be answered in a 3-word response. I don't know. To be honest with you, there's very little information about Christian's life out there, and even when collaborating with David Firth, he constantly uses pseudonyms like Crust, Christian Pickup, you know. Sometimes he goes by Christian Crust Pickup, so who knows, maybe that's a nod to the fact that we hope he'll pick up his comedy career one day. So even information on his career is hard to come by, yeah. I think he's got like 2 or 3 different IMDb pages. One for Crust, one for Christian Webb, one for fucking Christian Pickup. So come on. Who are you, pal? After being sacked as a teacher for very illegally playing a character, he presumably does this to protect his identity, as to not ruin his future career prospects. Others would want to make the writing, animation, voice work thing the main thing, but not Christian, yeah? It's merely a side hustle for him, yeah? A hobby, yeah? Something to do whilst waiting for the teaching career to kick off.
Excuse me while I light my spliff. I need to have a red big shit. So I'll smoke.
Oops, no, stop.
What are you doing, dickhead? Fucking Shady, bring that beat back in. You fucking knobhead. Don't fucking turn it off halfway through a fucking, like, Devvo fucking rap attack.